Hey guys, it's the Cello guy. Now today I wanted to talk about two things. Number one, left hand tension, and number two, right hand tension. These are very important aspects of playing for any string instrument player. Now the things I'm going to talk about apply to mainly cello playing because that is what I do. However, the techniques that I talk about also apply to people that play the violin, viola, or bass. Let's start with left hand tension. So, there are mainly two problems I generally see and have dealt with myself for left hand tension. The first being pushing down too hard with the fingers that actually touch the top of the fingerboard. The other problem being squeezing with this thumb right here. There are mainly three ways I like to deal with left hand tension when I'm practicing. Number one, double stops. Doesn't matter the piece, doesn't matter the passage, double stops will always work. For example, take the intro to the Dvorak Cello Concerto in B minor. It starts off like this. There is left hand tension. Now, the way I would practice this with double stops is take it at a slow tempo, take out the musicality, and just focus about getting a good tone and a good sound. Now my second method for practicing left hand tension is trilling. Now I get it. Trilling? That sounds crazy, right? Well, give it a shot. Let's try the same passage from the Dvorak and let's work it out. Now with this exercise, you want to be careful. This exercise causes lots of tension in your forearm, and trust me, that can get really nasty really fast. So just be careful, guys. Now my last way for practicing left hand tension is what I like to call ghosting. Now I know that sounds very weird, trust me, I know. But it's really effective for getting a really good vibrato sound. Now, let me demonstrate how this works. So you start off with 100% pressure here, no pressure here. Watch. Now you want to do that again, but you want to add maybe 40% pressure in this hand and still keep the 100% in this hand. Now let's try the same thing again, but with 70% this time, and still 100% here. Let's try it one more time regularly, and let's see how it goes. Notice the difference in sound between when I started and where I'm at now. Ghosting unlocks your vibrato and makes your sound just come out of the instrument a lot easier. Now, after using all three techniques for left hand tension, let's put it back at normal tempo and let's see how it goes. Now, when I just played that, I didn't feel like I needed to push as hard here. I felt relaxed, I felt fluid, it just felt a lot nicer. So I recommend all those methods to you guys. Of course, if you have any questions specific about left hand tension, feel free to leave a comment below. I'll be happy to answer any question, anytime. So now, let's talk about right hand tension. First off, I want to talk about how do you hold a bow? Now my answer is, there are many ways to hold a bow, and not every way is right for everyone. It's up to you in the end. But I'll show you my method of how to find out how to hold your bow, because every bow is different, keep in mind. So what I start off doing is I let my hand get caught in gravity. I just let my arm weight fall. I take my bow and I rest it in my hand. I let my hand grab it comfortably. Notice, your hand should feel really relaxed. You shouldn't feel like you have to squeeze in any sort of way. That is the same way you should feel when you flip the bow around like this. And of course, you're going to feel some pull from the tip, but that's natural. That is with every bow I've ever tried. So I wouldn't be worried about that, but you should feel the same kind of feeling. So let's get into some ways you can practice right hand tension. Now, when I first discovered my right hand tension problem, I was taught to flip your bow around so that the frog is here and the tip is over here. Try to hold your bow naturally as you would at the frog normally. And do what I like to call pinky push-ups. Now this should be a finger motion. When I first started out, I ended up doing a wrist motion. You have to keep in mind, when taking a stroke, the weight should come from your arm, your back. You want your pinky to lead the way, and as you get closer to the tip, you want your first finger to lead the way. Now this is a good exercise for strengthening the muscle of your pinky. So what you do, you take your bow, you just start doing pinky push-ups. Now this is probably going to feel really weird at first, but after you start getting used to it, you can move your hand farther and farther out to the point where you can lift it up. Now of course you don't want to do this too much, because if you strain your hand, that can become a really bad tension problem. Trust me, you do not want that happening. But I recommend looking to pinky push-ups. They have really saved my bow technique. Another way I've found to practice right hand tension is to take your right hand and move it up to the bow. Now this is going to feel really uncomfortable, but trust me, your hand is going to feel really weightless from doing this. Just play your open strings for a minute. Your hand should feel like it's gliding in air. Not really holding anything, but not being so loose that your hand starts getting all messed up. You want to keep it in the same position. Another way to practice right hand tension with your instrument is to take your bow and place it near the bridge. Now, you want to take two long bows, a down bow and an up bow. Simple, right? The point is to feel your hand transition through all the different patterns, how it should feel. Now, out here, notice how my hand position has changed to something like this. Your first finger is the dominant finger that initiates the attack at the tip. Now at the frog, I would say it's more of your pinky and your arm weight that's pulling the sound rather than pushing the sound. So let's give it a shot. throughout that entire time, I felt like my hand was relaxed and my arm was just carrying the bow across the strings. Now the same exercise I just showed you can be applied to any passage of any piece. Let's again take Dvorak as an example. Place your bow near the bridge and do the same thing we just did. Now my sound feels a lot better, it feels a lot more open, and I no longer feel like I'm having to fight with my instrument or bow to get a good sound. Now something we can use to practice both left hand tension and right hand tension is this idea of contrary motion. So as you take a down bow, you're going to go in the opposite direction. As you take an up bow, you're going to go in the opposite direction as well. For example, now obviously that kind of movement in that big quantity isn't going to work for every passage. For example, if you're playing a fast passage, you can't really be going all over the place because those are just so large movements for such a fast passage. That doesn't mean you can't do it, you just have to do it in smaller quantities and adjust to the phrasing. This idea not only helps with tension in both hands, but it also enhances the musical character of the piece you're playing. So I'd recommend that to anyone that's willing to try it. Now, it doesn't work for everyone, but I think it is really worth it. So those are all my major ways of practicing left hand tension and right hand tension. Now, those may work for me, but they don't work for everyone. So if you guys have any techniques that I didn't cover, feel free to leave them in the comments below. And again, if you have any questions about anything I talked about, please feel free to let me know. I'll be happy to answer any questions at any time. Thanks guys, see you in the next one.